Everybody chill.
What the hell is even that?
We waited nearly 3 years after completing Resident Evil 7, and everyone was eager to see what was next in store for the franchise. Then we finally got the announcement of Resident Evil 8 Village. Resident Evil 8 brings a lot more action-packed gameplay rather than the horror aspect. It feels like a mix of Resident Evil 1, 4 and hints of 7 thrown in. I'm running a 5070 Ti and I had the game basically on max settings and didn't have any frame drops. It's a gorgeous looking game. They nailed the atmosphere again, as well with the sound design. The village looks amazing and it really adds to the tension how run down it is. The game has a lot more to offer with exploration with the 4 different areas, hidden places, and most places you can revisit to find new secrets, or there'll be a new enemy there waiting for you. Each area is unique looking and they all have a different feel to them, but I'll get into that later on. There are more puzzles and items to collect while roaming the map. We also have the return of the merchant, and he is called the Duke.
So sorry it turned out that way.
You really are a fat bastard.
There's a currency that the enemies now drop when you kill them, and this can be used to buy items from the Duke or upgrade your items. You also collect sellable items which enemies drop now, and you can find these all over the map. Some of these can be combined to make more expensive items, or you can fiddle with them to find hidden items inside them. There are now these little puzzle games you can do, and they only unlock when you find the ball for them. There are 4 different ones in each area, and they all unlock a crystal that can be sold for a lot of money. There's a new thing they've added to this game as well. The Duke can cook your food with the animals that are located around the map. You need to hunt them and kill them, then collect the meat. This helps increase your overall health, or how much damage you take while blocking. There's also legendary animals to track and hunt down to kill. The hunting for animals is a nice new touch just to make things different. This game has a lot of weapons compared to Resident Evil 7. Some of these weapons are the Lemmy pistol, the M911 pistol, the M1897 shotgun, the W870 shotgun, the GM79 grenade launcher, F2 sniper rifle, and the Wolfsbane Magnum. There are also more weapons to unlock which you can use for your second playthrough. The combat always felt fun. You basically use what ammo you have for each gun and it's more down the enemy. They've really leaned into Resident Evil 4 for this, and it kind of ruins the survival horror aspect for the game, which Resident Evil 7 felt like. You're never short on ammo and you can always buy or craft ammo if you need it. The story takes you to a remote part of Eastern Europe, and we see Ethan and Mia has escaped the events of Louisiana and have had a little baby girl called Rose. Everything looks fine and dandy until Chris Redfield shows up to spoil dinner. He kills Mia brutally and then takes Rose away from Ethan.
What the hell?
Sorry, Ethan.
No! What? Why?
Who killed Hannibal? Who killed Hannibal?
Chris then kidnaps Rose with no explanation and takes you away.
Take him away.
While Ethan's getting transported, something makes your vehicle crash, and then you find your way into the village. The game starts off very eerie and mysterious, especially the first house you enter to get towards the village. It was a really good start and a welcome back to get you shitting your pants. You end up finding this poor old fella hiding in the pantry and basically give him away so he's werewolf food. You then become a little werewolf snack yourself. Then you get the 31st enemy of the game. After this you progress a little bit further and you get stuck in this spawn while being ambushed by more hungry werewolves. So I tried to do this first part on the Village of Shadows difficulty, and it was basically impossible to kill the first werewolf when you're hiding in the barn. I then went back on hardcore difficulty and went all the way back up to this point of the game, and it was just as ridiculous trying to survive the waves of werewolves in this first section. I really feel like they never play tested this before releasing the game, and it's a shame, because the standard playthrough I died 3 times and I needed a bit of a harder challenge, but I simply couldn't get past this first part on the hardest difficulty. You then progress further into the game, and you bump into these 2 people, which are Eleanor and Leonardo Lupo.
Stay back. Please, don't.
They help you get into this house, and you get to meet Louisa. You find out a bit of backstory that these are worshippers of Mother Miranda before the werewolves came and killed everyone. Leo then turns and starts attacking everyone.
We have to go!
You then lead Eleanor upstairs to the attic, but then she tries to save her father and she ends up falling into the fire. I thought these characters would show up throughout the whole game, but they all get killed instantly here. I just don't see the real point of having them in. You then make your way through the village and progress to the castle. Then you end up meeting the 4 bosses of the game.
As a man's dick is cut off in the castle, blah, blah, blah.
There's the famous Lady D, who I remember at the time made a lot of gamers thirsty. She also had 3 daughters.
You escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you? Let's see how special you are.
There's Donna Beneviento, who has her own Chucky girl called Angie.
I can show you that you entrust the mortal to house the task. My daughters and I will deliver the...
There's Salvador Moreno, who got the short straw of the powers and looked like he's had a dodgy takeaway the night before.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
And last but not least, there's Carl Heisenberg, who's basically a Timu Magneto.
You're not local. Even better. Mother Miranda's gonna love you.
And they all answer to someone called Mother Miranda, who we'll get into later on. Once you're captured off the bosses, they decide to randomly let you go, and then you land back at the village where the game properly starts. You then loop around again and gain access to the castle, and this is where you'll meet the Duke for the first time before entering.
How do you know my name?
Anyone who is anyone has heard of the likes of you. A hero searching for his...
Once you're in, you have to do a puzzle to find your way out the castle, which is find 4 different heads for these statues. I thought the castle was a really good area and very fun. It was very interesting and didn't feel like a chore looping around the certain areas when trying to find an item to unlock the next section. The castle was unique because it had a lot of different areas to go to. You had cellars that led to dungeons, and there was also the rooftop area you could access as well to look below. Each room inside the castle was unique and it had its own secrets too. It just kept you guessing what room you were going to enter and what you could find. Lady D's daughters will randomly pop up and start chasing you when you're trying to find an item, and this can become a really annoyance. Once you deal with 2 out of the 3 of the sisters, Lady D will start roaming the halls, and she'll act like Mr. X does on Resident Evil 2. She'll start attacking and chasing you if she spots you. I quite enjoyed this, and it made the castle a little bit more tense. There was a few times I didn't know what to do next to progress further in the castle, and it just adds to the intensity of when she's roaming around trying to chase you. There's a lot of hidden items to find in the castle, and you'll get little clues like notes telling you where they are or what the item is. It had different enemies all around the castle, and it felt a touch of Resident Evil 1. Overall, I thought the castle was one of the better areas of the game. With the amount of puzzles, secrets, and different enemies to kill, it kept you entertained all the way through it. Once you leave the castle, you have the option to free roam around the village again to find new items or valuables. The next main section you'll go to progress through the story is House Benevito. I could do a full video talking about how amazing this section is.
Mia? What's going on?
It does an amazing job bringing the tension up as you progress towards the house. You go up this spooky graveyard and you find House Benevito resting on this hill next to a waterfall. And the moment you walk in, you can feel something is off. Once you roam around the house, you find your way going downstairs in this elevator. And then once you go down a few corridors, you enter a room and you see Angie sitting there. Once you interact with her, the lights go off and she takes all your weapons.
I've been waiting for so long. I'd make a much better daughter than Rose. Please, won't you stay with me forever?
What? Wait, where's my gun?
You then have a couple of puzzles to do, and they'd be quite tricky to figure out for the first time. They have nailed the sound in this section, and it's really creepy. It makes you feel like something's behind you when you're checking a mannequin on the table.
I can't do anything.
This gives the same vibes as Resi 7 did when you first enter the house, and the tension is so good when you're doing the puzzles, and the further you get into it, the more it makes you jump. The puzzles you have to do aren't the hardest, but they're all unique in their own way. All of them have a piece missing in the locations around the area that you are, and you need to go and find them. The further you progress, the more intense this section becomes. It just adds to the horror and makes this section so fun to do.
Please, Ethan, listen to me. I didn't want to keep it from you.
What makes this area so good is it's so unexpected. You've just been shooting your way through a castle and killing a load of werewolves, and then all of a sudden you get your guns taken away, and you've got nothing to defend yourself with. It goes from more action to straight up horror, and it's so good. Just as you think it couldn't get any creepier, it makes you go downstairs to this dark room, and you need to go down this well to collect the key. Once you collect this key, you can hear the cradle smash, and you can see it as you get out the well. And then once you go back up the stairs, you've got a sense of something's about to go wrong. Once you get near to the end of the section, and you're trying to do the remaining puzzle, you get this horrific baby that chases after you and makes the most horrendous sound.
Fuck this. Fuck. Did you see this? Look at this.
You wouldn't think this section could get any worse, but now you've got this horrific thing chasing after you when you're trying to finish the end of the section. When you escape, you have a boss fight with Angie, and I feel like it's the most unique one rather than the typical shoot the weak area. Overall, I think House Benevito was the best section out of the game by far. As much as the action-based style makes the game fun, this horror section just added to how good it could be. It just added a bit more horror intensity to the game. It's a shame they didn't lean more that way. They could have made a really scary game here. This is the only section where you get true horror with Resident Evil 7. And it's a bit sad they lent into the more action style gameplay rather than this. This is by far my favourite section. The game then takes a little bit of a dip when you travel to the next area, comparing to how good House Benevito was. The next place is the lake where Marino resides.
What's so funny?
You're stupid. You talk too much.
It's all over. I plugged the way in.
What are you...
It's mine. And I won't let you leave.
Shit.
This isn't much of an area. You have got a couple of puzzles to do to drain the lake, but there's not a lot to it at all. There's a little area where you need to collect some boat keys. This is the only bit in the area where you actually fight any enemies. The rest you just deal with Moreno when he's swimming around. You need to traverse over these old buildings that are sunken in the lake. You do all this while avoiding Moreno when he's in his fish-like form, and you need to find a way to get the power back on. The puzzles are fairly straightforward. Simply pull a lever and try and get over a platform before it sinks. After you completing the castle and House Benevito and how unique and fun them two areas are, and you get to this area, the game takes a little bit of a dip for me here. There are some fun moments of this area, but again, it's just simple, go, pull a lever, traverse to the next area. Then once you drain the lake, you have a boss fight and then that's it. Just somewhat lackluster to me. After completing this area, you start unlocking more places to go to in the village, and you can start cleaning up the areas you weren't allowed to travel to at the first part. I thought they'd done a good job with this to keep things fresh and interesting. Once you travel into the stronghold to progress through the story, there's a little area you can miss where you fight this big fucker.
You know, this place has gone way downhill. What do you say we go somewhere else?
That's a huge bitch!
When you progress into the stronghold, it starts getting a little repetitive, killing countless waves of werewolves. Now I've got to admit, I was getting a bit burnt out after killing waves of the same enemy. The stronghold was basically pull a lever, kill a wave of enemies, and rinse and repeat. You had enough ammo to last you, and I just felt like the whole horror aspect of this game just went out the window at this point. I will admit, the areas do look cool though, and the graphics are insane on this game. It's just annoying when you get two good first areas, which is the castle and House Benevito. Then you go to the lake bit, which was quite boring, to say the least, and then you go to this area where it's just killing wave after wave of enemies. But I have to give them credit for this next area, because they mixed it up and done something different.
I'll take my chances. You're futile.
Heisenberg's factory was a welcome breath of fresh air after completing the last two sections of the game. I think they realised by this stage everyone would be getting sick of killing werewolf after werewolf, so they changed things up and it's really worked well. Every area feels dirty and grimy, and the tight corridors makes it claustrophobic. You don't know what's going to pop out or what's around every corner. They added these new mechanical enemies that can only be killed by shooting the weak spots, which are these glowing circles where they look like Iron Man. They constantly walk forward to you like Terminator and are really fun to fight. You have to go around different sections of the factory and find certain items to unlock doors to progress further. Every area feels unique and it never feels repetitive at all. You also throw different type of mechanical enemies at you. Again, it kept it really fresh and you didn't know what was around every corner and what it was going to throw at you next. You get chased throughout Heisenberg's factory by this big mechanic zombie propeller head thing. It's quite fun every time he chases you. Unfortunately, this is a better boss fight than the one with Heisenberg. You take on Heisenberg with this man-made tank Chris has somehow made up in his pastime.
Long story short, Miranda's fucking insane. In this village, all these monsters and freaks, this is her life's work.
It just felt a little silly, and it just felt like you were leaning back into a more action-based game rather than survival horror. The next section you take over Chris, and he's like Arnie Commando. You mow down wave after wave of werewolves, and I have to admit it was pretty fun, but he's hilariously overpowered.
Make contact with a group of hostile bioweapons.
There's more than we thought. Watch out.
You walk through each part of the village and just mow down wave after wave of werewolves. Again, it's kind of fun, but it's repetitive the same way. If you're in for survival horror, then this is just turned in full-blown action rather than that. I thought the ending was okay, and they've done well to wrap it up, but I did feel like the game went round in circles at times. My thoughts with this game's story is, they tried to do too much of it. The start felt like they were trying to copy Resident Evil 4, but wanted to keep it grounded with horror, which didn't work. The more enemies it throws at you, the less scary it felt. It did a good job keeping the game fresh with new enemies to kill, and being able to free roam around the map to find secrets kept the game interesting. Even though I didn't like two sections of the game, every area was unique and it looked different. It kept the game feeling fresh and not repetitive at all. House Benevito did make this up to me. This is one of my favourite areas on any Resi game ever, and it was so well done. It's still a very solid game, which took me 8 hours to complete. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with Resident Evil 9. Is it going to be a mix of action and horror again? I really hope they nail it, and I'm very excited to play it after going through this game. What are your thoughts on this game? Do you think they nailed it, or is there anything you would have added? Please leave me a comment down below, and if you could hit the thumbs up button to help with the algorithm and drop me a sub for future content like this, it'd be a massive help. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.